kg. Informal, cautiously reluctant to give information. Carbonaceous. Consisting of or containing carbon or its compounds. Celebrant. A person who performs a religious ceremony, especially a priest who leads the service of Holy Communion. Chicory. A blue-flowered plant with edible leaves and a root that can be used as an additive to or substitute for coffee. Codify. Organize procedures or rules into a system. Colorblind. Unable to distinguish certain colors. Conjunct. Joined together, combined, or associated. Constrictor. A snake that kills by squeezing and choking its prey, such as a boa or python. Convener. Variant spelling of convener. Conversant. Familiar with or knowledgeable about something. Convivial. Of an atmosphere or event, friendly and lively. Coulomb. The SI unit of electric charge, equal to the quantity of electricity conveyed in 1 second by a current of 1 ampere. Countermeasure. An action taken to counteract a danger or threat. Creel. A large basket for carrying fish. Defeatist. A person who gives in to failure too readily or who expects to fail. Diadem. A jeweled crown or headband worn as a symbol of royalty. Diamondback. Also diamondback rattlesnake, a large, common North Diamond Jubilee American rattlesnake with diamond-shaped markings. Diddle. Informal cheat or swindle someone. Disciplinarian. A person who enforces firm discipline. Disincentive. A factor that discourages a particular action. Ducal. Relating to a duke or dukedom. Edelweiss. A mountain plant with small flowers and gray-green leaves. Ellipsoid. A symmetrical three-dimensional figure with a circular cross-section when viewed along one axis and elliptical cross-sections when viewed along the other axis. Exfoliate. Of a material, be shed from a surface in scales or layers. Fairyland. The imaginary home of fairies. Famished. Informal, extremely hungry. Fishbowl. A round glass bowl for keeping pet fish in. Floaty. Giving the impression of floating, or of being able to float. Florid. Having a red or flushed complexion. Foreshadow. Be a warning or indication of. Gastroenteritis. Inflammation of the stomach and intestines, causing diarrhea and vomiting. Ginkgo. A deciduous Chinese tree with fan-shaped leaves and yellow flowers. Gumption. Informal initiative and resourcefulness. Headman. The leader of a tribe. Herbivore. An animal that feeds on plants. Herewith. Formal with this letter or document. Hotelier. A person who owns or manages a hotel. Hothouse. A heated greenhouse. Hypnotherapy. The use of hypnosis to treat physical or mental problems. Inauspicious. Not likely to lead to success, unpromising. Inbuilt. Present as an original or essential part. Laconic. Using very few words. Laid back. Informal, relaxed and easygoing. Laotian. A person from the country of Laos in Asia. Luminary. A person who is influential or famous within an area of lumpy activity. Mallow. A plant with pink or purple flowers. Mangle. A large machine for ironing sheets, usually when they are damp, using heated rollers. Mangle. Destroy or severely damage something by tearing or crushing. Maudlin. Sentimental in a tearful or self-pitying way. Mitre. A tall headdress that tapers to a point at the front and back, worn by bishops. Nanometer. 1/1000th of a meter. Newsman. A male reporter or journalist. Nonspecific. Not detailed or exact, general. Overhand. And adverb, of a throw or stroke with a racket, made with the hand passing above the level of the shoulder. Ovum. Ova/GVA/, a mature female reproductive cell that can divide to develop into an embryo if fertilized by a male cell. Parabola. A symmetrical open plane curve of the kind formed by the intersection of a cone with a plane parallel to its side. Parishioner. A person who lives in a particular church parish. Perestroika. The economic and political reforms established in the former Soviet Union during the 1980s. Periwinkle. A plant with flat 5-petaled flowers and glossy leaves. Piste. A ski trail of compacted snow. Plainclothes. Ordinary clothes rather than uniform, especially when worn by police officers. Polyp. A simple sea creature that remains fixed in the same place, such as coral. Potpourri. A mixture of dried petals and spices placed in a bowl to perfume a room. Prance. Move quickly with exaggerated steps. Probity. The quality of having strong moral principles, honesty and good character. Proboscis. The long flexible nose of a mammal, such as an elephant's trunk. Proclivity. A tendency to do something regularly, an inclination. Purser. A ship's officer who keeps the accounts, especially on a passenger vessel. Rangefinder. An instrument for estimating the distance of an object. Rapacious. Very greedy or grasping. Regionalism. Loyalty to one's own region in cultural and political terms, rather than to central government. Rheumatology. The study of rheumatism, arthritis, and other disorders of the joints, muscles, and ligaments. Rhinitis. Inflammation of the mucous membrane of the nose, caused by infection with a virus or an allergic reaction. Rollicking. Lively and amusing in a high-spirited way. Rufous. Reddish-brown in color. Saltire. Heraldry, an X-shaped cross. Schnitzel. A thin slice of veal or other pale meat, coated in breadcrumbs and fried. Seashell. The shell of a marine shellfish. Sedge. A grass-like plant with triangular stems and small flowers, growing in wet ground. Shapeless. Lacking a definite or attractive shape. Shelf. Place something on a shelf. Shortcake. A small circular sponge cake or cake made of biscuit dough that is served with fruit and whipped cream as a dessert. Shrike. A songbird with a hooked bill that often impales its prey on thorns. Shrivel. Wrinkle and shrink through loss of moisture. Sib. A brother or sister, a sibling. Softcover. And noun, another term for paperback. Stand-in. A person who stands in or deputizes for another. Steelworks. A factory where steel is manufactured. Stile. An arrangement of steps set into a fence or wall that allows people to climb over. Stratagem. A plan or scheme intended to outwit an opponent. Striated. Technical one marked with a series of ridges or grooves. Supercritical. Physics greater than or above a critical threshold such as critical mass or temperature. Throw-in. Soccer and rugby, the act of throwing the ball from the sideline to restart the game after the ball has gone out of play. Tipple. Drink alcohol regularly. Turnstile. A mechanical gate with revolving horizontal arms that allow only one person at a time to pass through. Umber. A natural pigment, normally dark yellowish brown, raw umber, or dark brown when roasted, burnt umber. Umbra. The darkest inner part of a shadow, especially the dark central part of the shadow cast by the earth or the moon in an eclipse. Unashamed. Feeling or showing no guilt or embarrassment. Unhygienic. Not hygienic. Unnumbered. Not given or worried. Unobtainable. Not able to unpit ying/npiting/. Untried. Not yet tested, inexperienced. Upwind. And adjective, into the wind. Wavelet. A small wave. Webmaster. A person who is responsible for a particular server on the internet. Winsome. Attractive or appealing in a fresh or innocent way. Wonderment. A state of awed admiration or respect. Amaranth. A plant of a family that includes love lies bleeding. Ambidextrous. Able to use the right and left hands equally well. Bhutanese. A person from Bhutan, a small kingdom in the Himalayas. Bloomers. Women's loose-fitting knee-length underpants. Bludgeon. A thick stick with a heavy end, used as a weapon. Brusque. Abrupt or offhand in manner or speech. Buxom. Attractively plump and large-breasted. Canker. A destructive fungal disease of trees that results in damage to the bark. Cantonment. A military garrison or camp. Cavitation. The formation of bubbles in a liquid. Chicane. A sharp double bend created to form an obstacle on an autoracing course. Clematis. A climbing plant with white, pink, or purple flowers. Conjunctivitis. Inflammation of the conjunctiva. Corporatism. The control of a government or organization by large interest groups. Crankcase. A case or covering enclosing a crankshaft. Craw. Dated the crop, part of the throat, of a bird. Deferential. Showing polite respect. Defray. Provide money to pay an expense. Dirge. A lament for the dead, especially one forming part of a funeral rite. Dismember. Cut off the limbs of a person or animal. Dowel. A headless peg used for holding together components. Dwarfism. Unusually low stature or small size. Egoism. Another term for egotism. Enrage. Make someone very angry. Farmstead. A farm and its buildings. Flotsam. Wreckage found floating on the sea. Forefinger. The finger next to the thumb. Fracas. A noisy disturbance or quarrel. Gargle. Wash one's mouth and throat with a liquid that is kept in motion by breathing through it. Gassy. Resembling or full of gas. Gastritis. Inflammation of the lining of the stomach. Gizzard. A muscular, thick-walled part of a bird's stomach for grinding food. Grindstone. A thick revolving disc of abrasive material used for sharpening or polishing metal objects. Hodgepodge. A confused mixture. Hogwash. Informal nonsense. Honorific. Given as a mark of respect. Hopscotch. A children's game of hopping into and over squares marked on the ground to retrieve a marker. Humus. The organic component of soil, formed from dead and dying leaves and other plant material. Ingot. A rectangular block of steel, gold, or other metal. Inoperative. Not working or taking effect. Intrauterine. Within the uterus. Irk. Irritate or annoy someone. Kaolin. A fine soft white clay, used for making china and in medicine. Kraut. Informal, offensive a German. Loiter. Stand around without any obvious purpose. Marginalize. Treat a person, group, or idea as unimportant. Milliner. A person who makes or sells women's hats. Miniskirt. A very short skirt. Nippy. Informal one, of the weather, chilly. overstep, go beyond a set or accepted limit. Palatal, relating to the palate. Pallid, pale, especially because of poor health. Pennsylvanian, relating to the state of Pennsylvania. Personage, an important or high-ranking person. Polyglot, knowing, using, or written in several languages. Preachy, giving moral advice in a pompous or overbearing way. RISC, reduced instruction set computer, computing based on a form of microprocessor designed to perform a limited set of operations very quickly. Rom-com, informal, in movies or television, a romantic comedy. Rowboat, a small boat propelled by oars. Seabird, a bird that lives near the sea or coast. Showpiece, an outstanding example of something. Showstopper, informal something that is very impressive, striking, or appealing. Slink, move smoothly and quietly in a stealthy way. Subhuman, not having the normal qualities of a human being, especially so as to be lacking in intelligence. Talus, the bone in the ankle that forms a movable joint with the shin bone. Tarpaulin, heavy-duty waterproof cloth. Telomere, genetics, a compound structure at the end of a chromosome. TGV, a French high-speed passenger train. Tinny, having a thin, metallic sound. Titration, the calculation of the amount of a substance in a solution by measuring the volume of a reagent required to react with it. Toilette, old-fashioned term for toilet, sense 2. Tonsillitis, inflammation of the tonsils. Triceratops, a large plant-eating dinosaur having a huge head with two large horns, a smaller horn on the snout, and a bony frill above the neck. Turboprop, a jet engine in which a turbine is used to drive a propeller. Unconstrained, not restricted or limited. Underarm, and adverb, of a throw or stroke in sports, made with the arm or hand below shoulder level. Unwatchable, too disturbing or boring to watch. Upwelling, an instance or amount of something rising or building up. Waft, move easily or gently through the air. Washcloth, a small cloth of toweling for washing oneself with. Wellspring, literary one, a plentiful source of something. Year-long, lasting for or throughout a year. Acrid, having an unpleasantly strong and bitter smell or taste. Analgesia, medicine, the loss of sensitivity to pain. Ankh, an ancient Egyptian symbol of life in the shape of a cross with a loop instead of the top arm. Arum, jack in the pulpit or a related plant. Bindi, a decorative mark worn in the middle of the forehead by Indian women. Bioactive, having a biological effect. Birdwatching, The hobby of observing birds in their natural environment. Brassy. Bright or harsh yellow. Capuchin. A friar belonging to a strict branch of the Franciscan order. Sap. An edible mushroom with a smooth brown cap. Clade. A group of organisms comprising all the evolutionary descendants of a common ancestor. Cleat. A T-shaped projection to which a rope may be attached. Colander. A bow with holes in it, used for draining food. Crevasse. A deep open crack in a glacier or ice field. Crosstalk. Unwanted transfer of signals between communication channels. Cussed. Informal, awkward, annoying. Declination. Astronomy, the position of a point in the sky equivalent to latitude on the Earth. Dolt. A stupid person. Drench. Wet someone or something thoroughly. Dross. Rubbish. Dweeb. Informal, a boring, studious, or socially inept person. Engrave. Cut or carve words or a design on a hard surface. Equivocal. Unclear in meaning or intention, ambiguous. Ethane. A flammable hydrocarbon gas present in petroleum and natural gas. Eventing. A riding competition in which competitors must take part in each of several contests. Fistfight. A fight with bare fists. Flatiron. Historical, an iron heated on a hot plate or fire. Flighty. Irresponsible and uninterested in serious things. Florin. A former British coin worth 2 shillings. Galvanic. Relating to or involving electric currents produced by chemical action. Gingham. Lightweight cotton cloth with a check pattern. Glitzy. Informal, ostentatiously attractive, often used to suggest superficial glamour. Glycolysis. The breakdown of glucose by enzymes, releasing energy. Gnarled. Knobbly, rough, and twisted, especially with age. Gouache. A method of painting using watercolors thickened with a type of glue. Griffon. A dog of a small terrier-like breed. Hallucinatory. Resembling or causing hallucinations. Hardtop. A motor vehicle with a rigid roof that in some cases is detachable. Hi-fi. A set of equipment for reproducing high-fidelity sound. Hindustani. A group of languages and dialects spoken in NW India that includes Hindi and Urdu. Hippodrome. An arena for equestrian or other sporting events. Housewares. Kitchen utensils and similar household items. Hydrangea. A shrub with large white, blue, or pink clusters of flowers. Hydrotherapy. The use of exercises in a pool to treat conditions such as arthritis. Iambic. Having one unstressed syllable followed by one stressed syllable. Inauthentic. Not authentic, genuine, or sincere. Interject. Say something suddenly as an interruption. Interlocutor. Formal, a person who takes part in a conversation. Jobber. A person who does casual or occasional work. Kinesiology. The study of the mechanics of body movements. Laryngitis. Inflammation of the larynx. Legroom. Space in which a seated person can put their legs. Longboard. A type of long surfboard. Lovesick. In love or missing the person one loves, so much that one is unable to act normally. Marchioness. The wife or widow of a marquis. Melancholia. Dated severe depression. Midriff. The front of the body between the chest and the waist. Missive. Formal, a letter. Molt. Shed old feathers, hair, or skin. Multilayered. Consisting of several or many layers. Multiparty. Relating to or involving several political parties. Muon. Physics, an unstable subatomic particle of the same class as an electron, but with a mass around 200 times greater. Neighborly. Characteristic of a good neighbor. Netbook. A portable computer smaller than a notebook, designed mainly for using the internet. Nonconformist. A person who does not follow accepted ideas or behavior. Non-standard. Not average or usual. Nosedive. A sudden dramatic decline. Orthodontics. The treatment of irregularities in the teeth and jaws. Overground. And adjective, on or above the ground. Payphone. A public telephone operated by coins or by a credit or prepaid card. Peekaboo. Made of transparent fabric or having a pattern of small holes. Pentateuch. The first 5 books of the Old Testament and Hebrew Scriptures: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. Pinstripe. A very narrow stripe in cloth, used especially for suits. Postpaid. And adverb, with reference to a letter or parcel, on which postage has already been paid. Processional. Relating to a religious or ceremonial procession. Profligate. Recklessly extravagant or wasteful. Puerile. Childishly silly and trivial. Pyrotechnic. Relating to fireworks. Quadriceps. A large muscle at the front of the thigh. Quadrilateral. A four-sided figure. Quartile. Statistics, each of 4 equal groups into which a population can be divided according to the distribution of values of a particular variable. Ragtag. Untidy, disorganized, or very varied. Razzle. Brit. Recheck. Check something again. Reconstitute. Change the form and organization of an institution. Restive. Unable to keep still or unwilling to submit to control. Rummy. A card game in which the players try to form sets and sequences of cards. Sanctify. Make or declare something holy, consecrate. Scriptwriter. A person who writes a script for a play, movie, or television or radio broadcast. Shuck. Remove the husks or shells from corn or shellfish. Sooth. Old use truth. Spiffy. Informal, smart or stylish. Stateroom. A large room in a palace or public building, for use on formal occasions. Stilt. Either of a pair of upright poles with supports for the feet enabling the user to walk raised above the ground. Subcategory. A secondary or less important category. Sulfide. British spelling of sutfide. Swindler. A person who uses deception to obtain money or possessions from someone. Syrupy. Thick or sweet, like syrup. Taciturn. Saying little, uncommunicative. Taskmaster. A person who makes someone work very hard. Torpor. The state of being inactive and lacking in energy. Transmissible. Able to be transmitted. Typecast. Repeatedly cast an actor in the same type of role typeface because their appearance is appropriate or they are known for such roles. Unicycle. A cycle with a single wheel, chiefly used by acrobats. Unidentifiable. Unable to be identified. Unpolished. Not having a polished surface. Vicissitudes. Changes of circumstances or fortune. Wayfarer. Literary, a person who travels on foot. Weedy. Containing or covered with many weeds. Women's wear. Clothing for women. Xylophone. A musical instrument played by striking a row of wooden bars of graduated length with small hammers. Abeyance. Temporarily suspended or not in use. Alacrity. Brisk eagerness or enthusiasm. Antihistamine. A drug that counteracts the effects of histamine, used in treating allergies. Aplomb. Calm self-confidence. Apologia. A formal written statement defending one's opinions or behavior. Arbitrate. Officially settle a dispute. Artificer. A person skilled in making or planning things. Bacteriology. The study of bacteria. Baklava. A Middle Eastern dessert made of phyllo pastry filled with chopped nuts and soaked in honey. Beanbag. A small bag filled with dried beans and used in children's games. Bedspread. A decorative cloth used to cover a bed. Besiege. Surround a place with armed forces in order to force it to surrender. Cabriolet. A car with a roof that folds down. Calcified. Hardened by the addition of calcium salts. Calla. A plant of the arum family with a showy white spatha. Cerebrovascular. Relating to the brain and its blood vessels. Cockerel. A young domestic cock. Comely. Old use or humorous, pleasant to look at, attractive. Coolie. Dated an unskilled native laborer in some Asian countries. Cyclotron. A piece of equipment for accelerating charged atomic and subatomic particles by making them move spirally in a magnetic field. Decapitate. Kill someone by cutting off their head. Derisive. Expressing contempt or ridicule. Desperado. A desperate or reckless criminal. Dethrone. Remove a monarch from power. Deviled. Cooked with hot seasoning. Distemper. A kind of paint made of powdered pigment mixed with glue or size, used on walls. Distillate. A substance formed by distillation. Domesticity. Home or family life. Electrify. Pass an electric current through something. Ephedrine. A drug that causes constriction of the blood vessels and widening of the bronchial passages, used to relieve asthma and hay fever. Expansionism. The policy of extending a state's territory by encroaching on that of other nations. Fevered. Having or showing the symptoms of fever. Foodstuff. A substance suitable to be eaten as food. Freckle. A small light brown spot on the skin. Fruitcake. A dense cake containing dried fruits and nuts. Ghat. In the Indian subcontinent, a flight of steps leading down to a river. Gnosticism. A heretical movement of the 2nd century Christian Church, teaching that mystical knowledge, gnosis, of the supreme divine being enables the human spirit to be redeemed. Hallucinate. Experience a seemingly real perception of something not actually present. Headrest. A padded support for the head on the back of a seat. Iliac. Relating to the ilium or the nearby regions of the lower body. Impel. Drive or urge someone to do something. Incapacitate. Prevent someone from functioning in a normal way. Insubstantial. Not strong or solid. Irredeemable. Not able to be saved, improved, or corrected. Kith. One's family and other relations. Lessor. A person who leases a property to another. Libellous. Containing or constituting a libel. Luff. Steer a sailing ship nearer the wind. Maneuverable. Able to be maneuvered easily. Mangold. A variety of beet with a large root, grown as feed for farm animals. Minaret. A slender tower of a mosque, with a balcony from which Muslims are called to prayer. Minuet. A slow ballroom dance in triple time, popular in the 18th century. Misadventure. An unfortunate incident, a mishap. Monolingual. Speaking or expressed in only one language. Morass. An area of muddy or boggy ground. Mozambican. A person from Mozambique. Nanosecond. 1/1000th of a second. Oiler. An oil tanker. Operetta. A short opera on a light or humorous theme. Overpay. Pay someone too much. Oxidize. Combine or cause to combine with oxygen. Pangolin. An insect-eating mammal whose body is covered with horny overlapping scales. Paramour. Old use a person's lover, especially the illicit lover of someone who is married. Phylum. A category in the classification of animals and plants that ranks above class and below kingdom. Pianoforte. Formal term for piano. Pincer. Pincers, a tool made of two pieces of metal with blunt inward curving jaws, used for gripping and pulling things. Plaudits. Enthusiastic approval, praise. Pressman. Chiefly Brit. Quayside. A quay and the area around it. Razorback. A pig of a half-wild breed common in the southern U.S., with the back formed into a high, narrow ridge. Remorseless. Of something unpleasant, never ending or improving, relentless. Reorder. Order goods again. Rosacea. A condition in which some facial blood vessels enlarge, giving the cheeks and nose a flushed appearance. Ruffian. A violent or lawless person. Sanhedrin. The highest court of justice and the supreme council in ancient Jerusalem. Sartorial. Relating to clothes or a person's style of dress. Scamper. Run with quick light steps, especially through fear or excitement. Seaborne. Transported or traveling by sea. Seaworthy. In a good enough condition to sail on the sea. Shallot. A small vegetable of the onion family. Shebang. Informal, the whole thing, everything. Skybox. A luxurious enclosed seating area located high in a sports arena. Speakerphone. A telephone with a loudspeaker and microphone, which does not need to be held in the hand. Spurn. Reject someone or something with contempt. Strychnine. A bitter and highly poisonous substance obtained from the seeds of Nux vomica, an Asian tree. Supercharge. Provide an engine with a supercharger. Tandoori. Cooked in a tandoor. Tankard. A tall beer mug with a handle and sometimes a hinged lid. Tarpon. A large tropical sea fish resembling a herring in appearance. Terrarium. REA/1 a glass-fronted case in which to keep small reptiles or amphibians. Thespian. Relating to drama and the theater. Tinkle. Make a light, clear ringing sound. Tortoiseshell. The semi-transparent mottled yellow and brown shell of certain turtles, used to make jewelry or ornaments. Toucan. A tropical American fruit-eating bird with a massive bill and brightly colored plumage. Transpire. Come to be known or prove to be the case. Triplicate. Existing in 3 copies or examples. Underperform. Perform less well than expected. Uninvolved. Not involved. Unthinking. Without proper consideration. Whaler. A ship used for hunting whales. Wintergreen. A North American shrub whose leaves produce oil. Abutment. A structure supporting the side of an arch, especially at the end of a bridge. Accusatory. Suggesting that one believes a person has done something wrong. Areola. Anatomy: a small circular area, especially the darker skin surrounding a human nipple. Armrest. An arm of a chair. Attenuate. Make something weaker or less effective. Biofeedback. The electronic monitoring of a normally automatic bodily function in order to train someone to control that function of their own accord. Blinker. A device that blinks, especially a vehicle's turn signal. Boorish. Rude and ill-mannered. Brainpower. Mental ability, intelligence. Briar. Variant spelling of briar. Burro. A small donkey used as a pack animal. Cha-cha. A ballroom dance with swaying hip movements, performed to a Latin American rhythm. Charcuterie. Cold cooked meats. Choreograph. Compose the sequence of steps and moves for a ballet or other dance. Clincher. Informal a fact, argument, or event that settles something decisively. Cloture. A procedure for ending a debate and taking a vote. Collegial. Relating to a college or its students, collegiate. Creaky. Making a harsh, high sound. Crystallize. Form crystals. Curried. Made as a curry with a hot, spicy sauce. Deaconess. A woman with duties similar to those of a deacon. Disassociate. Another term for dissociate. Disdainful. Showing contempt or lack of respect. Dravidian. A family of languages spoken in southern India and Sri Lanka, including Tamil and Kannada. Drumbeat. A stroke or pattern of strokes on a drum. Electioneering. The action of campaigning to be elected to a political position. Emplacement. A structure or platform on which a gun is placed for firing. Enchilada. A tortilla filled with meat or cheese and served with chili sauce. Endear. Make someone popular or well-liked. Equilateral. Having all sides the same length. Failsafe. Causing machinery to return to a safe condition if a breakdown occurs.